I guess 15 years ago now, give or take, when I was fired from Sports Creek and I could no longer coach, and it was a really bad time in my life, and I decided to walk to Lansing. Now, I'm a bit of a writer, and I, at that time, really thought I was just going to bring my journal and make this walk, and, you know, I was out publicly now, and my mind was racing in 1,000 different directions, and I just wanted to walk to Lansing, meet my state representative to talk about LGBT issues, particularly as they related to protecting students in our schools, particularly Sports Creek School. And I got a phone call, and the guy on the other end of the phone said, "Is this Garcia?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "I hear you're walking to Lansing." I said, "Yeah, I am." He said, "Anybody going with you?" I said, "No, I'm just planning on going by myself and maybe writing a little bit along the way." And there was this long pause on the phone. And he says, "Well, I don't think that's such a good idea. I think you should come down and talk to me." And I said, "Well, who's this?" He says, "Well, my name's Jeff Montgomery, and I'm with the Triangle Foundation." Now, I had no idea who the Triangle Foundation was. I had really no idea about LGBT politics across the state or the key players in the state. But I agreed to talk with Jeff, and I drove down to Detroit and met with him, and also met with Henry Messner at the time. And I remember talking to Henry about how he had been shot and his life experience working in the LGBT rights movement, and I was very impressed both with Henry and Jeff, and Jeff would go on to become a very good friend of mine and remains so today. So I have always had a tremendous amount of respect for the Triangle Foundation, and then of course the merger with Michigan Equality to become Equality Michigan now. And I had had some good experiences with Michigan Equality with the Pride festivals in Lansing as well. So, today it is troubling that Equality Michigan is going through a tough time, and particularly now in an election year, in a very important election for our entire community. One could argue maybe the most important election that we've ever had for the LGBT rights movement, because make no mistake, if we lose this, not only will it have significant repercussions for healthcare for LGBT folks, but people are going to point the finger at the president, and they're going to say it's because you came out in support of gay marriage that you lost. So the stakes are high. And while I can't tell anybody who to vote for in my role as executive director here at Affirmations, I can tell you that this president has supported LGBT folks to a level and degree unparalleled in our nation's history. And so do with that information what you will. I wanted to talk a little bit about the negativity that I continue to hear out in the community this week, particularly, and over the last few weeks, coming from our own LGBT community. But first I want you to listen to something. If you just give a minute to listen to this guy on YouTube. This was just last week, so check this guy out.
Well, the timing is, I think, miserable for his re-election. I would have expected him, as you did, to wait until he was the new president and say, guess what? I've changed my mind, or I've evolved. But homosexuality is the one sin, or the one habit, that is 24/7. It is homosexuality all the time. And actually, while I'm not sure about the claims by the various people who have reported that Obama has at least participated at times with them in homosexual acts, this certainly lends some credence. Mark my words clearly. The long-term goal of the homosexual movement is to get every little boy to grab his ankles and every little girl to give it a try. They will not rest until every one of our children at least gets to try, has the opportunity, and maybe is forced to at least once experience homosexual acts. There's no retreating from that. They've made it very clear earlier on. Now they don't talk about it, but that's what they want. They will not be happy until they get it. Marriage is just a step along the way.
Okay, so that guy's name is Paul Cameron, and he's with the Family Research Council. And as we know, Gary Glenn of the American Family Association is president of the Michigan chapter and is actually running for state senate against Debbie Stabenow in our state. And the American Family Association has been deemed a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Gary Glenn was a co-author of the amendment banning marriage back in 2004, Proposal 2. So we have significant enemies right now. Not just this guy, not just Gary Glenn on a state level. You know, lesbian couples, a home was just burned down this week here in Michigan, and it looks like it could easily be a hate crime. They were on their honeymoon when their home was burned down. We have too much work to do right now, important work, to have so much negativity going on within the LGBT community against LGBT members. Sometimes minority groups tend to eat their own. We can't afford to let that happen right now. Look, I've been a nonprofit my whole life, and any time that any nonprofit organization gets into financial difficulties or trouble, from the YMCA to the United Way to Red Cross to you name it, LGBT organizations, I've seen it all. And any time that these organizations get in trouble, it is all of our responsibility, all of us. It's like a sports team, you know. When a sports team gets in trouble, oftentimes we point the finger at the coach. We say it's the coach's problem. The coach is the first to go. But the reality is, any sports team that gets in trouble, it's the responsibility of ownership and upper management, general managers, coaches, the players, and even the fan base. Everybody shares in the responsibility of any organization or team that struggles. And so it is not fair to ever point a finger at any one individual. And I am done listening to the tremendous amount of finger pointing and negativity that is existing right now amongst our community. We've got guys like this out there. This is who we should be focusing our energies on in our community. We don't have time for this. We are in an important election year, and we have a weakened political arm right now. So yes, Affirmations is going to do everything that we can to work with and help Equality Michigan at this time. I personally am going to do everything that I can to help. I have too much respect for what was the Triangle Foundation and Equality Michigan and Henry and Jeff and Denise and Alicia and everybody that worked as hard as they could to do their best. But we need to recognize as an entire community that our movement rises or falls with all of us. And so right now that means that donors have to give a little more. Boards have to strengthen. Everyone has to work harder right now because people's homes are getting burned down. Kids are still getting kicked out. Guys like this are still spewing their hate. And if the progressives lose right now, it's guys like this and Gary Glenn who are going to have a sympathetic ear in Washington. We cannot afford to let that happen. And so I pledge to you, and I hope that we can all come together right now to work harder and do more, and to stop the bickering amongst each other. None of us are perfect. I have made a ton of mistakes in my career and missteps, but I will try my best, and always have, to advance our movement. And I'm just asking that if this message can leave you with anything, it's that we need to spend more energy fighting our true enemies and less energy eating and attacking our own. We don't have time for it, and I pledge to you that Affirmations will do everything that we possibly can to help Equality Michigan right now, and that our partners will come together to strengthen our movement. And I will pledge to you that anytime that I hear us tearing each other down, I'm going to challenge it, I'm going to confront it, and I'm going to remind people that it is these idiots that we need to fight right now, together, not each other. All right, have a good weekend.